So the training courses, so here I am in the new teacher center, and that was on slide 4. I clicked on the picture and it took me to the teacher center. And from here, you can see, I'm not going to read all this to you. Quiet, Max. But up at the top here, this is something I really want to point out. So let's say you're not clear with what's going on in classroom and you really need some extra help with that. I would click on the classroom there underneath the product guides, and they have an overview of Google Classroom. But check this out. They also have videos, short and sweet. You'll notice like this is like a 33-second video of how to view the stream page or how to add students to your class, or a number of things there. So those are some great things that they have within these product guides, and they have them for a number of their tools. Now granted, these are kind of the basics kind of stuff. You're not gonna it's not gonna dig too deep, but there are quite a few useful videos in here that are short and sweet to go through and check out. Now the actual training, when I click on, let's see, the programs, that'll be for the trainer program, back to training courses, learn the basics of G Suite education. This is what I'm going to be pushing y'all to, because this is for the educator level certification exam, or to get ready for it. Once I press start training, you have to be logged in with your Google account. You can do your personal account or you can do your Mainer account. And then you'll log in and it'll take you to this page, and you'll notice that it says that I recently passed this. So I went through this training earlier this week or whatnot, again, just to go through it. And it's very similar to what it was when I went through it a number of years ago. A few changes, but not too much. They prettied it up a little bit on the new one. So anyway, here are all the different modules you have to go through. And then once you get through all the modules here, it'll let you know that you have passed it. And so this is where, and I'll put this in the instructions, you would take a screenshot of this, and then to get partial credit, and then a screenshot of you getting your email back from Google about your test. And then once you do pass the test, all you actually would have to do is put the Google, the certificate into the Google form, and then turn that in to get the full credit. So once I'm in here and signed in, I just click on a module, and it's asynchronous. There are going to be videos in here. Since I've already done this, it's saying review. But if I click on review, it's actually going to tell me what I'm going to learn, and then what products, and then it's going to tell me I've already completed this. And then over here on the bottom right, that's how I navigate through here. So they're going to have videos. They're going to have interactive, where you can put in some of your thoughts into here, jotting down your own ideas and stuff like that. And they're also going to have multiple choice and true false questions. They have quite a few videos also that are interesting to watch. And you can also just read the transcripts. Let me double check and make sure there's not anybody trying to get in, and we look good. Okay. So these multiple choice questions, you do have to get the right answer to in order to move on to the next section or whatnot. So you can answer them multiple times, and then you check the answer, and then you move on to the next question. At the end of each lesson, or each unit, I should say, there's a multiple choice test that you have to get a passing grade on in order, and I think it's an 80 to move to the next section. Or you can move to the next section, but you still have to go back and pass that to complete it. And that one, you would be like 6 or 7 questions, and they'll be very similar to the questions you did during the lesson checks. And then you would take that test, and if you don't pass it, then you can retake it, and then until you do pass it. And you can also go back into the unit and search for whatever you're missing from that. All right, I'm going to close out of this. Does anybody want to speak up? Any questions yet about what I've covered within their training center? Okay. So it bounced me into another website. You'll notice that this website right here is different than the main website. So here I am back in the main website under training courses. And so let's get to actually taking the test. So if I click over here to certifications and go to Educator Level 1, this is where it's going to tell me more about it. And then if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, and that's what I suggest, because right now they're pushing you into registering for taking the exam with the new service. If you want to take it with the old one, then you can come down here and it says the Proctor U and Criterion, what's the difference? So Proctor U is the old one. And then the Criterion is going to be the new one, I believe. And so you'll have all that information right here. And they have a step-by-step how to take it, either using the Proctor U or the Criterion. And again, I'm not going to push you more into one or the other. I know at some point that the old one is going to be ending. I think it was going to be in July. So if you don't get done before then you might not have a choice, which wouldn't be that big a deal anyway. I do know that you're going to want to make sure your Chrome browser is up to date. And so that's something I'll show you how to do right now. If I click on my Launchpad on my dock, and then I go into here, I can click on self-service. And this is where all my programs are. And I click on self-service. And you can actually do this anytime. And then I go down and I find Google Chrome and I click reinstall. And then it'll reinstall, and then I restart my Chrome browser. And to do that, once it's reinstalled, I just go up to Chrome and quit it, and then I just restart it. Or you can restart your whole computer, especially if you haven't done that in a few days. I always suggest restarting your computers as the first thing to do when you're trying to troubleshoot anything or if you're having any kind of issues at all. So that would be one of the first things to do before you take your test, is to update your Chrome browser through self-service. You can also find any program on your computer, just so you know, to the right of your name on the top right by clicking in the little magnifying glass, and then I can type in self, and there it'll appear also, and I can find it that way also. All right, any questions about updating your Chrome browser? All right, well, now I've shown you where some resources are. I've shown you where the test is and how to sign up for it. And now let's go back into the presentation. And I want to talk to you about the actual test itself. So I referred to the education questions at the beginning of the test. And then at the second part, which is the bigger part of the test, is the actual checklist. Not checklist, excuse me. I'm reading my screen. It's actually the tasks that they have you do. And so if we click on this up here, the level 1 checklist, here's Stacy Klein's checklist. And so this is a hyperdoc. And this basically goes through all the different skills that you're going to need to know how to do. This one, if you click on, so for example, Gmail is not one of my strong points yet. So if I click on here, priority inbox for Gmail, and then I click on the link underneath it, it's usually going to take me to a Google page about whatever I'm looking at. In this case, it's how do I do my priority inbox? So that is Stacy Klein's hyperdoc for preparing for the level 1 exam. And then going back to the presentation, we have Eric Kurtz's checklist. And this is the one I kind of prefer just because my brain thinks more along the lines of a checklist. So here's his checklist. And what I would suggest you do is, for the purpose of taking this test right now, since you only have the ability to view this, I would go up to File, and I would make a copy of his checklist and put it into your Google Drive. And that way you can go through here, and as you get things done, you can actually check them off or strike them out or do whatever you need to do to recognize that you've completed that part. So looking at Eric Kurtz's checklist, I can see, okay, here's the tech integration part, but let's get down to actually creating files in my Google Drive. Do I know how to do that? And more than likely, hopefully, you know how to create files already. But if you don't, bam, click on the link. And here's going to be a short video to watch over how to create files within your Google Drive.
Cole, he's my miracle child.
And watch an ad.
I've had.
What up, guys? Tyler here with Tarver Academy.
So,
Let's go.
Oops. So that's his checklist, and I really, really like this one. So this is the one I would push y'all into using. And again, to make a copy of this, you just go to File, make a copy, and it's in your Google Drive. It's yours now. You can edit it. The only problem with making a copy is if, you know, he changes a link here or something like that going forward in the future, you wouldn't get that change on your sheet, but you can always refer back to this one. And like I said, I'm going to keep this presentation open, so you're going to be able to go back and do these resources. And actually, now that I think about it, I think I'm going to push his above the other one just because I like it better. Any questions about the checklist there?
So the checklist is not the courses. This is just something to refer to make sure I've done everything. The courses are a different thing, or the
Yes,
modules. The modules.
Yes, ma'am. The modules within Google are specifically geared towards the education aspects of using the Google tools. So the questions within those modules are all going to be education questions. So which tool would be best? You know, here's an example, and they give you some example questions. Which tool would be best for collecting data from students and then being able to create graphs from it?
Okay.
And then it'll get that would be one type education question. And they'll get a little bit more in depth. They'll have, you know, maybe 5 different tools, and you're going to have to match each of the tools on the up there with the scenario that it would be best used for, that kind of thing. So there'll be
the modules will teach us how to do everything, but the checklist is there to go back and make sure I know how to do them. Is that my understanding?
No, the modules will show you how the tools will be, or show you how the tools will be used in an educational setting. But the actual checklist is what I highly suggest you go off of to make sure that you have the Google skills to do the second part of the test.
So it's kind of skill emphasis on the skills, the checklist.
It is. So, you know, here's the thing. So they give you those temporary credentials. You log into a Google Drive. Now I'm in this Google Drive. It has documents and forms and stuff already in it. And then within that Google Drive, I'm going to use that to complete the tasks that they give me. So I alluded, one of the things I talked about earlier was Google Classroom, but another one might be the Google Drive. So they're going to say, okay, go to your Google Drive and find this document, and it wants you to move it into a folder that you created. And by the way, make sure you name the folder this, and that you put change the color of it, and then that you share it with this fake person that is also part of their whole scenario they're giving you.
That's the modules.
That's the modules. Yeah, that's what you're going to be going through.
So we do both, or you recommend doing both, the modules and the checklist?
Well, I recommend both. Yeah. I mean, the checklist, if you are already real comfortable with Google and you think you got it, then I still suggest you go through the checklist and say, okay, you know what? These are the things that I'm strong in. And I would venture to say that there might be a thing or two on there that you might say, you know what? Maybe I should go take another look at that part of it. Maybe it's, spreadsheets aren't necessarily your strong point or something like that. I know for me, there were some questions like within the Google Calendar and how it connects to the Gmail and, adding people to that and the scheduling and stuff like that I'm just going to go do a double check of. Yeah, great question. Great question. So I'm a real visual learner. This right here, I'm on slide 10. These videos, this is again another hyperlink. You click on the picture and then click on the actual link itself. This is going to be, now this is a number of years ago that this guy has created these, not that long ago, I guess, with the update, but these videos right here are not short. So You know, one good thing would be to go through here if you don't want to watch the whole thing, because that's a lot of time to watch these videos. If you know that you need help, like I said, with maybe say you don't use sites that often, then go through here and watch the video on sites and just kind of refresh yourself with it and get an update, and then maybe go create a Google site, because that might be another thing that another scenario they give you. So the first scenario I mentioned was classroom. Second scenario was something in the Google Drive. The next scenario might be something in Google Sites, where it has you create a Google site, name it this, and then on the home page, they want you to link a document to that home page, you know, so it might be useful to go through and watch, you know, the video on Google Sites, right? So
how did you get to that, Brooke?
So on slide 10,
Okay.
this right here is the picture is a Google.
I see. So this is an extra thing you threw in for us to use as prep.
Well, I mean, so the session that I created here is how to access the training that Google provides, and how to access the actual exams. And then I also wanted to provide resources.
I see.
For y'all to go through. And these are resources that I actually used as I was going through the level 1, level 2, and the actual the trainer test also. So almost all of these I've used before, and there are a number, you know, out there. So if I just go into my page and Google, you know, open up a tab and Google Certified Educator Training, you know, you're going to come up with like Casey Bell, and you're going to come up with Fried Ed Technology, but a lot of those are paid. They try to push you into taking a paid course through them. And if you need that extra support, then I suggest going through, you know, the Eduphoria, the summer listings, and seeing what else is out there. I'm definitely going to be offering some more Google training, and definitely a lot of it might be geared more towards the classroom and the Zoom as we get going closer to the fall. And you know, who knows what kind of model we're going to be coming back to, whether it's going to be a hybrid model, or you know, we're going to be in person again to all of us, or you know, who knows how that's going to look. But in preparation for that, I'm definitely going to be putting some more training together for the Google. And while I'm talking about trainings, just a real quick short one. On Wednesdays throughout the summer, at least this month and July, we are having Nearpod and vocabulary certified educators give a training in the afternoons. And so those are on Eduphoria and also on the impact list of trainings. So come and learn about Nearpod and about vocabulary and about how they integrate together. If you don't have a Nearpod account, sign up for one using your Manor ISD Google account, and then shoot either Jacob or myself an email, and we can upgrade you so it doesn't show prices. Especially for this time of remote learning or hybrid learning or blended learning, Nearpod is a powerful, powerful tool. I believe tomorrow they're going to be covering vocabulary, which is a powerful tool in and of itself. And I actually, when I was at in the classroom over at Decker Middle, I paid for it out of my own pocket to use it in the classroom. And it's come a long ways from back when I was using it too. So there's my plug for Nearpod. And my dog just keeps barking. So on slide 11, I want to push y'all to this. And if you click on the picture, it's going to take you over to Sarah Keeper's Wakelet page. And that's slide 11, I believe. And the reason I wanted to show this is show just how many resources out here. Here's Eric Kurt's checklist I talked about before. And then, yeah, there's a number of them on here. There was one on here I wanted to put on to show y'all. Okay, so if you scroll down in the page, you're going to find task cards for level 1 educator certification. And this is a training that I've actually done in the past, and I did it asynchronously through the Google Classroom, and I'll probably be doing it again. And that's where everybody joins the Google Classroom as a student, and then they have task cards or assignments where you have to go and complete the tasks. And those tasks are similar to what you would face in the modules in the Google certification test. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And just a reminder how I got here, I'm in the presentation. I'm on slide 11. I clicked on the picture, and then within the picture, there's a link underneath it. and I clicked on that, and it took me to this Wakelet page. And then I scrolled down, and I found task cards. Now, this is someone else's task cards. This is part of the nice thing about being in this Google Trainer group is that they share resources, or we share resources. So whenever someone creates something, they share it with the group. And, you know, as long as we give credit, you know, where credit is due, then, you know, I didn't make a copy of this and change anything for it because I wanted to show y'all the original. But if you click on that task card and you go down to Google search. So I'm on slide 4. And then this might be one thing that they ask you, or a tool that you're going to need to know how to do. You're going to need to know how to do a Google search in there. So, and then, you know, another one might be know about the EDU directory. And then you could search Abilene, or you could search Austin or Manor, or whatever you wanted to do. Some of these are not necessarily going to be applicable to you, and some of them might be specific towards their training or whatnot. But this one on slide 7, this is a great example of what you might see on the test. You're creating a folder, you're putting a document in that folder, then maybe you might have to paste something into that document from another document, and then you're going to share it, and then you're going to share it, and so on and so forth, changing the color of the folder, all that kind of stuff. Google Forms, there's another one. This would be a great task. That's on the 8th slide. So this would be another thing to go through, depending on how deep you want to get into this and prepare to get ready for the test. So these task cards are pretty good, and that's why I wanted to share them with y'all. Any questions on the task cards or tasks in general?
What's her name again? The name of this Sarah something you said?
Let's see. Slide 11.
Sarah Kiefer.
Kiefer.
Okay.
And I'm the worst of names, so I'm probably saying that wrong. So I think I said Kiefer, actually.
So this would be a good prep before the test to maybe run through these task cards.
It would.
Saying.
It would. You know, but going through Eric Kurt's checklist, that's a good one too. So not a bad thing to go through both. And again, you don't have to do it comprehensively. If you know that you need work in one area, then go through those other areas and make sure you got it down, and then really concentrate on those few areas that you're kind of needing to up your skills in.
I like how hers is laid out. The steps look real user-friendly.
Yeah. Actually, I don't even know if that's hers. That might be something that she borrowed from someone else.
Right, but that's under her name.
It doesn't show whose it is originally. And I actually considered taking this and making a copy of it and then making it specific for us. But I did not do that. So there's a Google Calendar one. That's a good one.
I like those.
So one thing to think about also, everybody, is since we don't use Gmail in our district for our as staff, we use the Outlook, is to use your personal account for some of the training. Or, you know, when you're testing stuff with Gmail and all that kind of stuff, and making sure you have those skills down. And so towards that end, if you don't know about this, or if you know about it, excuse me, but I want to share this with you, is if I'm in my Chrome browser, and I'll notice I'm on Chrome up here on my top left of my screen, if I go to the middle of it, to the right of bookmarks, you see people. I click on people, and you'll notice that I have a bunch of people here. And what that allows me to do is that allows me to switch over to, say, my son's browser. And you'll notice that the browser itself is a different color. That kind of helps me see that it's a different browser and all that. And then you'll see the bookmarks are different. He's in his Khan Academy. He's doing his typing. He's doing the Pebble Go and all that kind of stuff. And so this is his browser. But now to get back to my own browser, I can either press the Chrome again. Oh, maybe not now. Or I can just go under here and click on it. Might be easier. So that is a real quick and easy way to share or to put a personal Google account on your work computer and not have it fight with the Manor Google, because we don't have Gmail. And I don't know if you've ever tried to log into your personal Google on the Manor Chrome, but if you do, you might get a message saying this service is not, please contact your Google admin, that kind of thing. This is a real easy way to keep them separate. And so all you do is go to people, click add person, and then it's going to ask you to log in with your Google account, put in your personal account, and then anytime you want to access it, you simply go to people and then click on the person that you want to join. So here's like a personal account popping up here in a second. And there's my Gmail, and it's not fighting with my Mainer accounts. It just keeps it all separate and all clean and all just really nice. So that's a great way to be able to access your personal Gmail and personal Google without being in the same browser as your work browser. Questions about that or anything? Okay. Let's see.
That makes it
Yeah,
easy.
go ahead.
Thank you.
Did you have a question, Amanda? Is the process the same if I'm using a Chromebook? Yeah, Chromebooks are going to be a little bit different. I would test it out first. And so to test it out on a Chromebook, what I would do is go to,
that
excuse me?
makes it easy. Thank you. I appreciate it.
What I would do is go to File and then click New Incognito Window. And that's going to be the tab that you're going to want to check that makes sure that that's going to work on there. If it's your work Mainer Chromebook, then I'm not 100% sure. I know that some things can be turned on and off and whatnot. So I would test it with the Incognito browser first. And by test it, I mean test it with your personal account and make sure that you can log in to a personal account through here. And the nice thing about Incognito is, if I go to Drive, let's see here. We're going to want to clear all that out, like, it remembering things. So you're going to want to go to your history and you're going to want to clear out your full history. And you know what? You can send me an email and Christian, and then we can do some Googling and figure out if what problems you might run into taking it on a Chromebook. Okay, the recorded presentation is going to be available. I'm probably going to put it within Educator. So if you go back to Educator, you will be able to, let's see. So I'm going to go into Strive, and then it's going to look a little different for y'all, just because I have different access. But if you go into your Strive and you see, let's see, there we are. This right here, and you see notes and attachments, I can put stuff in there and make them visible to everybody. So if you go into your Strive right now and you clicked on our session, you should see me putting this in there. And if anybody does that and you don't see it, please let me know. Yeah, because otherwise I probably will send the video to everybody. That might be a better thing. So maybe I'll just send it to everybody and put it in here. So I'm going to have to send y'all an email anyway with the Google form on there about getting credit for this. And I also had a question about whenever you're ready to take the certification exam, you're ready. If you went through this today and you're like, you know what, I know all this stuff, I don't need to go back over this, and you want to go take that, then more power to you. Yeah, this is your choice. The level 2 is also on here for those interested in looking at the level 2. And that's basically it. That was it, unless you have some questions. Yes, you will be using Incognito for the Google certification. So that's one of the things you're going to need to review also. And it'll be in there. It'll actually be in the task cards or within the checklist. But to go through Incognito, you just go up to File and you click New Incognito Window. So, and guess what? That would be something, that would be a great example of something to Google. So a big part of this training is getting better at Googling stuff. And so I'm going to take this as a great example. Incognito, let's just do Incognito. And the less you can put in there in the Omnibox, and there's something from the text or from the test, everybody. The Omnibox is this right here. It's this box up here that is where we type in the URL address or the search bar or whatever you want to call it. But guess what? Google calls it the Omnibox. So I'm going to type in Incognito Browser, Chrome, and then I'll type Mac. And I know everybody here can Google, but I'm just using that as an example. And so right here, you know, you can also use a keyboard shortcut, and that's going to be the Command-Shift-N if you're on a Mac. So Command-Shift-N will do the same as going up to File and New Incognito window. Level 1 is for beginners, but it's not for what my son would call noobs. So what I mean by that is nothing disrespectful, but if you're not used to using the Google tools and you're going through that checklist of everything and you're, you know, it's all really not coming to you easily, then definitely I would go through all the videos, go through the checklists, go through the modules, and make sure that you feel comfortable before you actually pay for the test. So level 1 is for beginners. It's the level 1, but it's not, you know, it's 3 hours and you know, I don't know, you know, everybody takes tests differently. So yeah, I hope that answered your question there. All right, anything else, y'all? This actually went longer than I thought, so I'm glad we I put out an hour for this. So y'all know how to reach me. You can reach me through Hangouts. You can reach me through email. You can call me. We can do a Zoom call. We can do all that. Reach out if you got questions. I'm happy to ask you. But again, I'm probably going to push you just before you reach out to me, do me a favor and do a search and see if you can figure it out. While we're looking at search, one other thing I can tell you is you're going to need to know how to go to tools and change the time frame that you want to look for something or do a search. And you can also go in here and change the other results, other type of stuff you want to do within the search. Let's say I wanted to search for Apple, and I'm going to do a file type, PNG. And then let's see here. You can go to images. And then underneath tools, once I'm in images, you can talk about the usage rights. And this is something for digital citizenship. So you want to make sure that you can, you know, use the images in your presentations. So look what happens here when I say labeled for non-commercial reuse. So these are all the images that are safe for me to use with modification. So that's a good tool or a good thing to know how to do. All right, I hope y'all are doing well. Feel free to come off the mic and come off mute and ask a question. I hope everybody's having a cool summer. I know today's supposed to be in the triple digits, so it'll be a nice hot day. I'll have to move my computer inside before it overheats. So at this point, it's 10:51. If you want to leave, have a great day and stay safe. And we'll be seeing y'all virtually or in person, hopefully sooner than later, but safely. So have yourself a great day. And if you want to stay, I have about 9 minutes before my next session. So you're welcome to stay and ask some questions.
I have a question.
Sure.
So for the 19 hours, does that include doing just the 1 and 2 levels as well as the certification exam?
No, they're separate. So the I think it's 18 hours, right? It's 3 days, so it's six hours a day. That's just for the level 1 certification.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
what I was talking about at the beginning was that I'm working on getting it where if you go through all the modules and you show that you've gone through all the modules for the level 1, and then you've taken the test and you weren't able to pass it, then you could still get some credit as opposed to an all or nothing type deal.
Okay. Okay. Thank
But
you.
the level 2 is what I'm doing next. So, if you get to level 1 and you're ready to move on to the level 2, then that's something you can do. And I'm going to record that one and put it out there too. So.
Okay.
Brooke, this is an easy question, and I put on the chat. How do you put your presentation on the taskbar again? Or with the taskbar, what? I just forget. I'm going blank.
On the taskbar, you mean?
So I can easily refer or bookmark whatever.
Yeah,
refer.
Sure. I'd be happy to do that. So if you look up here, my screen is really crowded, but you see that little star in
Yes.
my Omnibox, and there's a star. It'll allow me to bookmark it.
So, but do I need to? How do I put my your presentation on there? So open the presentation or put the presentation in the search bar.
Yeah, you can do that. Or what you could do is you could just go, I mean, that's a real easy way, but if you want to add it to your Google Drive, you can actually, you'll see, well, it's not here on mine, but let me show you. Right here, you see that little Google add shortcut to Drive. So that will add my presentation to your Google Drive, or you can go to File and add it to your Drive also. But if you want to do a bookmark for the actual presentation, then yeah, just click the star, and then it will put it in the folder or wherever you want it to be on your bookmarks bar, like right there.
Okay. Well, I wanted it for easy access, and sometimes. So yeah. So I've done this before. I'm just forgetting. So I want it to be up there below the search bar.
Yep, that's what you do. You click.
So the little symbol will actually go under the search bar.
Well, it'll be whatever you put there. So if you want to title this, whatever, G training, which I already have a bookmark like that, then I put it on my bookmarks, and then I just press done. And then it might, I don't know about you, but I got a lot of bookmarks going on here. So you might have to move it from wherever it started. I see.
Yeah, that's what I think I found out from someone, that it's up there, but if you have more than the 6 or 7 that are showing, it's hidden and you have to move it up. That rings a bell now. Yeah. Because a lot of times I try to bookmark things and then I never could find it. And it's under that big long list that you're showing us.
I have that same issue. And I have to see this folder right here.
Right.
Yeah. So that folder, I try to put as much as I can into there. So underneath the different titles, but.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Gets lost. I'm with you.
That's a whole nother training. Find how to put a file on there. I don't know how to do that.
What's that lady's name that cleans up stuff? That cleans up yeah.
Oh, Condi.
Your house and help you organize and get rid of all your stuff.
Brooke, is there a more basic class than this if you don't want to get certified but you really need help with like what you were just explaining? I feel like my Google Drive, I need help with my Google Drive. I need something more beginner.
Sure. No, I get that. So yes, there will be. And I think there's one actually at the end of this week where I'm just going to go over basically what I'm going to do later this week is I'm going to go over, hopefully at a good pace, so it's not too fast and not too slow, but I'm going to record it. The the different tasks that are education related. So we want, like, again, going to the drive and pressing new and creating a folder, stuff like that. Yeah, for sure, I'm going to be doing those, and I think I'm doing. When I looked into Eduphoria or Strive, I'm doing one on the 11th. It looked like. I've got quite a few this week, actually. I don't know what I was thinking.
What's
So,
that one?
yeah,
What's
and
that
then-
one called?
Huh?
Is it called Basics of Google or something?
Let's see. I teach Google Basics.
Okay, great. And then another question, what would cause someone to not pass the Google test? Do they run out of time because they're focused on a task they're stuck on, or do they not do it correctly?
I think that would be one of the biggest ones is getting stuck on one thing and wanting it to be perfect and not, that would be the biggest thing. So I think just getting comfortable with moving on and keeping at a good pace, just like we tell our kids when they're taking the standardized tests, right? Don't get stuck on one thing and not go back to it at the end and access it and go, do the rest of the test. One other thing I want to tell you though is going to the main, training center, the new teacher center. If you go to that training center, dang, these flies are all over. You can click on the product guide, and these have a lot of the basics. So if you're talking about some basic stuff with the Google Drive, then I would go take a look in here at the docs, forms, and slides and see about those. And then I would also maybe just Google it. Like if you don't know how to do something, just Google it. How do I do this? And then watch a video. But of course, you're welcome to come to those trainings. But part of what I'm going to be training on is how to add a bookmark, and how to Google that, so those are great examples of questions that more than likely you could answer yourself. You just got to get comfortable Googling and then searching, and the same skills we're teaching our kids, right? When they Google something and they want to look at all the different links, is the link worthwhile? That kind of stuff is, when I went over here and Googled about the Incognito Browser, not the pictures, but all of them, the first one came up is from Google, right? So that's probably a good resource to go to. But if I go further down in here to help.fox.com, this article might not be the best one. And then you also got to look at the dates and, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you in that other training, and I'll be, myself and other people will hopefully be offering trainings throughout the summer on the Google.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the beard.
Thank you. Let's see here. The test is timed. It's 3 hours. Yeah, the test is $10, and all that information is found on that website that I went to, the new Google site. Let me get rid of all these browser bars. All right.
So do you have a preference of old or new?
I don't. I'm taking the old one here probably in the next week or two, and then I'll probably take the new one just so I get a feel for it and can talk to it better. But they make you do an NDA, a non-disclosure, so it's kind of a fine line of what I can share and what I can't share. So I try to walk that line as best I can.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you. I hope you got something out of it.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.